Okay, so today we got here the L5 Pro. Just going to give you a little introduction into how it functions, the key elements of the actual design of the unit, and things to watch out for when you're putting it into use. So if we come in, when you first get into the box, it will be shut. So this one is actually on charge at the moment. It'll be shut like this with a little clasp there. If you undo the clasp here, come down. Inside you'll have two elements. You'll have this sort of master switch here, which will make sure that it works with electricity or not. So if you turn it that way, it's off. If you turn it this way, it's on. You will also find the remote control. It should be fitted somewhere in here. And then you'll have a little guide here as to some of the lifting elements that we'll go through it in very shortly. So when we're looking at the remote control, this is the remote control that you will receive with every single unit. On the back here is a switch. The switch, if you just flick that on, will turn on the remote control. The next thing you need to do is just press this on button, and you'll see a light there. These things are automatically already paired, so this will start operating the system straight away. On the control here, you've got two main features here, which is the up and down. So you've got this one, which is 2. As you can see on the unit here, there's a big 2. So when I press this one, it means that this chain will operate. So if we watch, you can see that the chain is going downwards when we press the 2 button there. When you press the 1 button, it does the opposite. It will move it up. There's another function on here in terms of speed. So you have the rabbit, which obviously indicates that it is a fast speed. So if you press this, and when I say fast, it's not that much faster, but you'll see what I mean. You'll just get a bit more speed as it goes through. So you won't have to be waiting there for an eternity for it to go down. When you want to have a bit more control over the speed of what's happening and make sure that you're getting things lined up properly, you obviously press it slower and it will slowly move the unit up or down. The way that it works inside here is, as we said earlier, obviously is a battery operation. So ensure that the battery there is charged. Inside the battery and in the unit there is a motor and works on a sprocket-based system. So you can see it in here where we've got the sprocket and the chains. The chain here is calibrated to the unit. And when I say calibrated, it's calibrated so that it counts the links, so that when the chain gets further up, it's obviously not going to go the whole way through the unit and obviously destroy it. So when you see, see if we do it here. I'm going to try and get this chain all the way up. What will happen is as it gets close to the limit, it will basically just kill the motor and won't let it happen anymore. This will obviously stop the chain from going into the unit and destroying it. Please do keep in mind, just in case that this doesn't work. I mean, it definitely will, but just in case that we don't go all the way through, otherwise you will just wreck the unit and could probably have an accident. The next thing to note is that when this is getting lifted, there needs to be constant tension in both the chains. The system itself is not designed to have all of the weight in this side. It needs to have it in both. So ensure that there is a slight angle that will allow it to have the weight in both chains. Usually that will mean that you get from maybe like a horizontal position, you'll probably get to about there, not quite vertical, but almost vertical. And that's as far as you should go. If by chance you do go the full vertical and it goes in one, the one chain will be a bit loose and this will slowly drop as the weight of it sort of puts it back into a more weighted position so that you haven't got all the weight into one side. The other thing to note, and especially on this sort of 5-ton, is that there is an imbalance tolerance. So if you have obviously a max 5-ton safe working load, but as long as there is not a 750 kilogram difference between this side and this side, the motor will work. If it is, then you'll struggle to get the motor working. You'll still be able to lift the item off the floor, but obviously the motor will not be able to operate. With the L5 unit that hasn't got the Pro on it, you just need to make sure that you are leveling out the chains before it gets lifted. So the Pro versions have a snatch block type function that When you lift it up, it will find its level of gravity. You're going to engage the lock, and it will stay in that position with the level of gravity found. Make sure that the ones that haven't got the Pro, that you are finding the gravity point before it gets lifted. So that's just using the remote control to change the length of the chains as it's lifted off the ground to make sure it gets to the right position. And that would just hold safe practice with that work. Other than that, there's not too much more to show on this. We'll have a look at the top of the unit where it's actually held together. So the unit will come with this on top of it. And as you can see here, we just have a regular hook. Make sure that obviously your hook is going to be in tolerance to the weight load that's going to be on this. This unit itself, I think, is around 195 kilograms. And obviously you've got to be able to make sure you got the load that's going to be underneath that, and it's going to be within the tolerance of the lifting gear that you're using on top of this. When you are in the middle of your lift, I designated at the beginning, you'll have these numbers written on each side. So when this is high up in the air and you're trying to figure out which side am I supposed to be lifting, you'll be able to see on your remote, like I said before, the 1 and the 2. The 2 will lower the unit side that you're trying to lower on, as indicated by the arrows on the remote, and the 1 will obviously do the other side. And as you can see, the items here are getting, the chain here is getting either lengthened and shortened, allowing you to change the angle of the object being lifted. When you're finished with it, make sure you obviously turn off the remote control. Last thing you want to do is to kill the battery on your remote control for the next time that you're using it. Bring it down, ensure that the kill switch has been operated and taken off. This will stop the unit working without it in, so that will turn off the unit. And then also make sure that I recommend that you charge it. The voltage on this is 100 to 240 volts, so it's mains, and you can plug this in and should charge overnight and should be good for use the next time you use it. And all in all, that is everything you need.